so glad that this week is over, and I'm so looking forward to a short Thanksgiving week next week.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite weeks of the year. I feel like I said that a year ago at this time. It's just something, you know, it's like Christmas. There's too much stress leading up to Christmas. Like you feel like, oh, there's not enough days. As you get into that final week, you're always like, there's not enough days until Christmas. Not with Thanksgiving. You're like, just get here already. Let's get to the food.
If somebody else is cooking.
That's probably why I feel that way.
You basically have no responsibilities whatsoever.
Is that you?
No, I'm cooking.
You are?
I mean, I'm the meat and potatoes cook at our house, but we are treating ourselves this year because I'm working Thursday, Friday morning. It's a lot. It's a lot to do if you're working in your dash home. So we're treating ourselves to a Huber's turkey. We're picking that up. You know, very well known in Portland, as all you realize, and I've had it before, and it's outstanding. So, but we're the potatoes and everything else we're doing.
I'm treating myself to a Spanish coffee then.
I should do
you guys
that.
gonna go together?
Is also
Why? Where's the turkey? Rob was supposed to be here a couple hours ago. I'm at Huber's drinking Spanish coffee.
I actually have a Huber's Spanish coffee story I could share during this edition of Sunrise Extra because we are talking about Thanksgiving fails.
That wouldn't be a fail, though.
It kind of was when I was doing it and what happened after I did it, but more on that later.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Thanksgiving, I'm sure, a lot in the days leading up to the actual day next Thursday here on Sunrise Extra. But as we head into the weekend, I thought let's have some fun this morning. Let's talk about Thanksgiving fails. And up front, I don't think the three of us have any great fails, but a lot of times when we ask you to share your fails, your worst date stories, or your worst Christmas experiences, or your worst vacation trips, you guys have some great stories. So share those with us this morning. We'd love to share them with the rest of the gang. Rod, you did say you had a minor fail one time with your dog?
So I'll lead off, So it's after the meal, and we have football on, and we're in lounging, as you do, in the living room, and my nephew was with us, Alex, and he had some roommates at the time, and they were over. And all of a sudden, Cody, who's sitting to one of his friends, Cody's like, hey, your dog, Maximus, he has a bone. And we're like, well, he has bones all the time. That's no big deal. And then, so we didn't pay attention. And Cody's like, are you sure this is okay? And I'm like, what is he talking about? So I look over in the corner of the living room is Maximus. And he has one of the turkey drumsticks. It's weird to me that somehow nobody took the second drumstick, but apparently nobody did during dinner. And he must have gone in the kitchen. He's big enough, he can put his paws up on the counter. Yeah. And I'm sure he got up and just looked at that and went like, well, no one's going to take the drumstick. It's mine. Yeah. So, of course, at this point, he's so adorable with this big, and he looks pretty happy sitting there with the big drumstick in his mouth. So it just,
He didn't get in trouble.
I didn't bother him. He didn't get in trouble. It was like, wow.
All dogs live by the rule, do not ask permission, just ask for forgiveness.
Exactly, big puppy eye.
But I would love to see him because he's got to be up on the counter looking at everything, a plate of turkey, some other stuff, and for some reason that big old drumstick just stuck out as the bullseye for him.
And I could see him thinking, geez, this must be for me. Nobody else is here to eat it.
Daddy's not going to tell me no. I have never actually really successfully cooked a turkey. I love the thought of one big bird sitting up there on the platter for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is just not happening. I got a big turkey one year, and I started like 4 days early to thaw it, and it didn't get completely thawed, so it looked beautiful on the outside, but when I took it out, the really interior was not.
Was it still like cold?
Oh, wow.
Well, it was like that weird pink color that wasn't quite right. The outside was fine.
Yeah.
We just kind of sliced
and poultry, you got to have done.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm delayed in pulling up the Facebook feed.
But you know what I need to get better at? I'm embarrassingly awful at the carving. I make a pretty good turkey. But, the carving, you either know what you're doing or you don't, like my mom knows exactly where to cut everything, right? And it doesn't take her very long, and it's wonderful. But I'm in there like, everybody out, nobody can watch me do this.
You're like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah,
you like it when it's over, but you don't want to watch it happen. There are some Thanksgiving fails being shared by our viewers, and I just lost the whole list. Oh, here it comes. It's back up here. I think a lot of people can probably relate to Shireen Miller Simmons. My first turkey I cooked, the bag of goodies inside. Did not pull the bag out.
My mom did that once. I remember that. That's funny. This is my favorite. Sheila Speck. First Thanksgiving, put the turkey in the oven. Couldn't figure out why we couldn't smell it. The oven wasn't on.
Oh my gosh, all day?
But how long
For
did
like
it take you to
hours?
realize this? That's the
Oh,
follow-up
my
comment,
goodness.
Sheila. How long
Yeah.
was that bird in the oven before you realized that oven wasn't on?
It's at least probably a couple hours before you think you're going to start to smell it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
Shireen says cooking a turkey in a turkey bag is amazing and easy.
Yeah, I do that. That's what I do. It is. I mean, the only sloppy part is if you want to make gravy, you got to kind of deal with getting the bag punctured and get the drippings out. But it keeps the turkey kind of self-basting itself during the process. Really traps in the juices. Yeah.
Paul Anderson, somewhat of a brave man.
I just read that.
Paul Anderson.
I guess Paul doesn't think that his mother-in-law
Dude.
watches Sunrise Extra, or he doesn't care if she watches
Maybe
Sunrise
she
Extra.
really is just that bad.
Wow.
Paul Anderson says, quote, "It's always, in capital letters, it's always a fail
Wow.
as soon as the mother-in-law walks in the door. This applies, by the way, to all holidays," Paul says.
Does not enjoy the company of his wife's mom, huh?
No. I'll tell you, my mother-in-law, she's very responsible for a lot of the food that ends up on that table. And there's like this competition. I don't even know how friendly it is, but there's this competition amongst like my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law, my wife, a lot of members of that family. They get real competitive about what they bring to the table for Thanksgiving.
Interesting.
And that's a great thing for the person eating.
Yeah. 'cause
I'm not
they're-
involved in the competition.
They're up in the game.
Yeah, so they're all trying to outdo each other with these recipes. Did you see my green bean casserole? Have you tasted my sweet potatoes? Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting
I
there.
love that.
I like that too.
Stanford Walker says Thanksgiving is not stressful for us. We help out at the Mission Gospel for our Thanksgiving. That's awesome.
Yeah, good for them.
I love that.
Good
love
for
love.
them. Yep.
Jennifer Taft has one of those dog stealing the food stories, but her dog went further than Maximus did. She says, my dog as a kid stole a whole turkey from a counter.
The whole
turkey.
thing? Wow. Now that's a problem. It's one thing to lose a drumstick, but if you lose the entire tree, that's a problem.
Oh my gosh, Stanford is weighing in again. He said, we had a neighbor who tried to deep fry his turkey for 1 year and burned his garage down.
Well, you hear those stories, right? I mean, the fire department does their little safety video for us.
We'll probably have
Over
it on the
years.
news next Wednesday. Probably all the news outlets will have that video next Wednesday. The fire department, like you said, talks about it all the time. But if you're deep frying the turkey, you have to be careful.
People say, I don't think I've ever had it.
We
But
had
everybody, I think maybe a sample from one of your segments.
Yes, I was going to say,
It's really good though, isn't it?
I remember this viewer's name. I'll never forget it. He actually still stays in touch now and again. Jordan Curtis. He's out there in like kind of that unincorporated area of Washington County. But anyway, yes, he made a deep fried turkey for us on the Sunrise Show 1 year for a viewer recipe segment, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. Suzette,
That's hilarious. Go ahead, Rob.
I was just going to say, Suzette Dickerson just sharing it. It's just going to be her and her hubby, and her husband's name's August, and their fur baby. So nice little simple Thanksgiving at home, looks like.
Noah, this is hilarious. He says, oh boy, Thanksgiving fails. Years ago when I was a young lad, I figured I would impress the family by cooking Thanksgiving dinner. Decided to do ham. After the recommended cooking time, I pushed in a thermometer and hit resistance, so I thought it was still frozen in the middle. I was young and naive, but I put it back in, and they had turkey jerky that night.
Oh, geez.
Oh, my God.
Overcooked it big time.
You know, in the world of meat, ham
jerky. That's funny.
it's pretty hard to screw up a ham. I mean, there's not much to it.
So I guess what he's saying, though, is congratulations, that was impressive.
You know, this is funny. I just thought of this when you were talking to me earlier about fails. It didn't come to mind, but my mom would always bring pies. Like if we were doing dinner up here in Portland, they'd drive up from McMinnville, and she'd make a fabulous pumpkin pie. She'd make a fabulous pecan pie just from scratch. Everything was wonderful. And they had to stop to get some, I think it was like cream or something for the whipped cream.
Right.
So she and my dad stopped at some grocery store on the way from McMinnville to Portland. And when they got to our house, they only had one pie. And my mom said, the pecan pie is gone. She thinks that somebody got into the car and stole the pecan pie. I don't know why, just one.
She's positive she put them both in the car.
Oh, absolutely. She was absolutely, and you know, she's a good Christian woman, and she said, you know, if they really needed it, that's okay. So that was the fail. Weeks later, in pristine condition, she found that the pie that she put in the back seat on the floor had slid under the passenger seat.
And it was in...
And there's so much sugar and whatnot, like there's not anything to go bad. It was like in perfect condition.
Yeah,
but that's where the pie
Oh
went.
my gosh, that's
Because you're
hilarious.
thinking, yeah, no one would steal one pie, right? If you're in there, you might as well take them all.
It made me laugh.
Oh my gosh, yeah, so many
That's
things
funny.
happen. You know, so many things get stuck under that seat of the car, right?
That's funny.
Nutty.
We had the one time I was at Huber's for a Thanksgiving segment. I remember the year. It was the first Thanksgiving I spent with my wife, although we weren't married yet. We started dating in May of that year, '04. This was November of '04.
'04, okay.
So still kind of, you know, new in the relationship.
Yeah.
Having Thanksgiving with her family, you know, that quickly into it, I was.
That's always a nervous moment.
Yeah.
The first one, right, with the in-laws to be in this case.
But I worked that day. I worked Thursday morning. I was at the other station at the time, and we did a segment at Huber's. Thanksgiving Day, big day at Huber's. All the turkeys, all the Spanish coffees, and the bartender. You've done the segment.
Yeah,
taught me
great
how
segment.
to make the
It's
Spanish coffees.
a lot of fun.
And as we're leading up to the live segment,
Yeah.
he's like, you know, we should practice. So we practice, and every time we practice with one, he's like, well, what are we going to do with this? Waste it? I don't think so. Here you go.
That's what they did with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so down the hatch they went, and I don't know the count. This was so many years ago, but
17.
No, but think about the hour of day. I haven't had anything to eat yet.
All right.
Between like 5:30 a.m. and 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
I had probably 4 or 5 Spanish coffees.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Fine. I power through the last segment just fine. You know, no noticeable differences in my presentation. But when Jarrett, who was driving me that day in the news van, was taking me back to the station, it was a wild ride. No, just a wild ride. A lot of rolling the window down, yelling out to people, "Happy Thanksgiving! Happy Thanksgiving!" So we go back to the station, and Corey Hansen, who you know used to work here, now works over at this station that I'm talking about. I jumped up on her desk when I got back there, and I was like, "Happy Thanksgiving, Corey!" And she's like, "Oh my goodness gracious!" Did not get in trouble, thankfully. Went to my wife's brother-in-law's house that day for Thanksgiving and passed out on their couch.
Oh,
how's that for an
my
impression?
Goodness.
That's my boyfriend, Mom and Dad. He had to work today. He's a little tired.
Oh God. You know what? That could
Wow.
be a whole segment. I started going to Huber's when I was in college.
Really?
Yeah, like when I turned 21, I was a senior, and we would go hang out at Huber's.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we'd skip the Beacon news meetings. I was on the newspaper, and occasionally we would skip that to go have Spanish coffee.
Coffees, yeah.
But yeah, I am
It's,
not going to talk about all those stories.
It is on that list of a Portland classic. If you've never been to Huber's, and if you don't drink alcohol, just going there for lunch or whatever, it's
Beautiful
great.
place with lots of dark
the
wood and
bar
super vibey.
the bar area is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Those stained glass windows that are up top. It's really, really pretty.
I had Thanksgiving there one year. In 2002, pardon me. I apologize. 2001, my first Thanksgiving in the state of Oregon. My sister actually flew in with her husband, and she had like a 2-year-old at the time, and I certainly wasn't going to make the full meal, nor was she, so we went to Huber's, and it was a really nice night.
It was really nice. Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
Willie Huey
Willie
time.
Huey, yes. Are you going to read it?
No, go ahead, Brenda.
Willie says, we were underway for Thanksgiving one year on the submarine because he was in the military.
Yep.
Captain
Oh,
had
wow.
bought a ton of Omaha steaks for Thanksgiving dinner before we left.
Nice.
The day comes and Captain asked the cook to do the steaks. Couldn't find the steaks. Turned out some new cook out of high school had used them for yakisoba on some random dinner earlier in the patrol.
Oh, wow.
Everybody was irate. Oh my
yeah.
God.
You remember that yakisoba we had a couple days ago? That was Thanksgiving. That was the meal.
I wonder if that doesn't get you busted down a few stripes. I don't know what would.
Nobody's talking to the new cook.
Here's a question for you, Rod.
Yes, sir.
Let me get into your head.
All right.
You're reading the one I'm about to pass on to Rod. Rod, if you dropped the turkey on the floor,
The raw
the
turkey.
raw turkey, before you cook it,
just drop the turkey.
You drop the turkey
All
on the
right.
floor.
Yeah.
Would you then go ahead and serve that turkey to your guests? Because she says she did a quick wash up on it.
Yeah.
This is Deanna Lynn Frantum. Did a quick wash, seasoned it well. No one was the wiser.
I feel like it's cooked, though. You bring it up to temperature.
Right.
You're rinsing it
10-second
off.
rule.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
I mean, if you drop a hot dog outdoors on a dry patch of dusty dirt and there's no way to wash it off. Now that's the question. Do you eat that?
If
Yes.
I would serve it.
I hate wasting food. One time there was a pot. Do you want to hear about disgusting?
Hey, you just rinse it off.
There was a
Yeah.
pot in the sink that was soaking with like soapy water in it.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
cutting a bagel to toast the bagel in the toaster. And I was doing that over the sink so I wouldn't make crumbs. But I lost a handle on one side of the bagel and it plopped into that soapy water mixture. And I was like, oh my gosh, I reached in and grabbed it real quick, but I mean this thing is wet.
The bagel is
Yes.
wet. That doesn't
So
sound good.
I took a towel and I toweled it off, and I stuck it in the toaster, and I toasted it, and I ate it.
And
Because I
it
did not wanna
toasted
waste
up okay?
I mean, it tasted weirder.
It tasted soapy.
No, it didn't taste. There was no soap. I was afraid of the soap. There was no soap residue.
It was crispy?
You're not supposed to
Slow
put wet
down.
things
No,
in the
the one that
toaster.
didn't fall in was normal, crispy, chewy,
Yeah.
good. The other one was toasted, sort of mushy in the
Something
inside.
was weird.
But it wasn't terrible, and I do not like to waste the food. I couldn't
Was
even
it
handle
your last
wasting that.
bagel?
Well, it
No,
was clean.
It's literally just
No.
you don't want to waste food,
Right.
no matter what.
Right. I think the deal was there was 3 bagels, and I was making one for me and the 2 boys. I'm like, I'm not going half. I want that full bagel still. They got their bagel. I want mine.
Who ate you did.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
took the worst
yeah.
one.
That would be the worst father move of all time, wouldn't it be? Oh, they won't know. No, I ate it.
Well, maybe they wouldn't know.
I did eat it. You don't
They're
believe me.
boys.
No, they would call me out on that in a heartbeat.
All right, okay.
They'd throw it in the trash.
All right.
Okay, let's see.
Noah Clark says, towel-dried sink bagel now available at Fran's. Apparently it's a special. All right.
Yeah. You know, that's my mom always taught me, don't waste the food.
Veronica Gasson wants you to share Christmas dessert recipes now. Do 12 days of desserts for Christmas.
What I thought about doing, we had to get our, I know we had to wrap this up. It is a Friday here on Sunrise Extra, but I thought about this. You guys tell me what you think of this idea, Brenda and Rodney.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Next month, instead of going back and doing like the viewer recipe series,
Yeah.
maybe in leading up to the holidays, we can do like holiday treats, like cookies and things like that, but we can get behind the scenes staff from the Sunrise Show to make those things, and we can make them a part of the program. Like, for example, meet director Brian. And Brian's going to show us how he makes his blankety blank blank blank, whatever. I can't repeat that.
Can't repeat that one.
Brian's in my ear, and nope, can't say that one out loud.
It's chip beef, isn't
You know
it,
what I
Brian?
mean? Producer Cassie is going to show us how she makes her chocolate chip cookies, whatever it is. So we can bring you our behind the scenes staff.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that, Cassie?
Raspberry thumbprints.
Ooh, is that a cookie?
Yeah.
Raspberry
It's like a shortbread, and you put your little thumb
That would
on
be a
there,
good
and then
segment,
you fill
right?
it with raspberry jam.
I'd
I
have
like
my
it.
daughter do something.
And if you don't want to see Cassie or Brian on TV, then we can find other people. But I thought
Yeah.
Cassie and Brian would be great choices.
All right, I like it.
All right, that's the segment, gang. Tune in next month on Sunrise.
All right.
Is that it?
Yeah, we're saying goodbye. We wish everybody a great weekend. Get all your Thanksgiving run around done. It's going to be hectic for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, keep going, man. This is good. Keep going.
And we'll see you right here on KGW News at Sunrise Extra next Monday morning.